All right. Hello, everyone. I'm sure you will be able to hear me. And so today we are starting off with session five. And before that, first of all, welcome to Data Science Daily session five webinar. Thanks everybody who is joining here with me. And as we know that we are running machine learning series, or I have named it as data building successful data products with cloud. So it's a part of exercise to achieve that goal, and this is one of the skill sets that we should have, to complete our whole end-to-end course, where as we have been discussing from the beginning, how we start with the data extraction, and then data manipulations, after that model building, and then model serving, and then finally using the models in the products, and integrating by after integrating them inside into the products. So end to end, the skills, there are multiple skills that are necessary, and Pandas is one of them. Okay. And I'm not saying that you always use Pandas only, but Pandas gives you a sneak peek into, even if you are using any other technologies or any distributed computing framework like Spark. If you know Pandas, you get a sense of how you know easily, how you think of data manipulations perspective. Okay. So it's a, the learning curve is little low, so you tend to learn it much faster, and so then once you learn this, then it's easier to apply these concepts everywhere else, right? And particularly if you also want to learn Spark, okay, then also it will be helpful to you if you know Pandas, or even if SQL. So I mean, these are kind of interchangeable skills, right? And okay, so last week we were not able to hold the session, but I shared this link with you guys. And so this is a GitHub link of Pandas exercises. As you can see, let me make it bigger. So what we'll be doing is that, since we have already run, I think we have run 2 or 3 sessions on Pandas. So I just wanted to kind of wrap it over today. For now, it doesn't mean that Pandas is complete, okay? But majority of the applications, or majority of the usage of Pandas that you will encounter on a daily basis as a data analyst, you'll get to have this, uh, you know all the functionalities whatever is available in these tutorials, because this is what needs to be on your tips. Rest, obviously not everything can be learned, or continuous, not everything can be on tips every time, every moment. So you just should know over the time that, okay, following functionality is available, so you can always search for Pandas, and maybe write the functionality name, so that's it. Then you don't need to learn the syntax, I mean to say. Okay. And so okay, let's start. We are running late anyway already. So what I'll suggest, so as we keep using collab notebooks, uh, collab notebooks is something which is available by Google, for collaboratory research. So what you can do is, let me type in, um, let me open a new tab for you guys. And what you need to do, just type in collab.research.google.com. Okay, and hit enter. Then something will open, so it will be a list of notebooks and what. So it's a collaboration environment. And so what we need to do, since we already have the GitHub link, repository link, what we can do, we can use this repository link, copy this, and you can do with whatever GitHub repository you have. But for the case of our today's session, let's use this. And what we need to do, by default, the recent one will be checked. Okay, and it might be showing something different for you. For me, it is something different. So because I have, it shows the recent whatever I have used recently. So just go on GitHub, click here, you know, enter the URL like this, right? And hit enter. The moment you hit enter, so it will automatically sync that repository within the collab research environment, right? Okay, so now we are able to see now is that we have a lot of exercises, okay, lot of notebooks, Python notebooks, but what we need to use is only the one where it is written exercises with solutions. Okay, though I would recommend you guys to pick the exercises.ipynb and then do the solutioning, or maybe you know at least for now I'll use only the ones with exercise with solution. So it contains multiple chapters. The first chapter is getting and knowing your data, basically exploring the data, right? And then so and again it contains further three exercises in each chapter, and then filtering and sorting, how to apply filtering and sorting on the data frames. Okay, and so there are exercises corresponding to that. So there are basically three data sets. One is portal, one is Euro 12, one is fictional learning. Okay, and then there will be third grouping. Third chapter is about grouping. It's more around aggregations that you frequently encounter, right? And so basically it's very nicely prepared. This GitHub repository is very nicely prepared to accommodate majority of the usage on how on a daily basis how Pandas is used. Okay, I'm sure you would have gone through it last week as well when I shared this link, so that you, I mean, to do it yourself. But today we'll be going it quickly, and you'll find that in the last two lectures, whatever we covered in Pandas, majority of the concepts are covered in those. It's just that you'll see more data sets today in this exercises, and so it generally helps in learn more and retain more, right? And then this is apply is more like sometime you have a column, let's say. Remember we have had a lambda function in the last lecture, right? So let's say you have a column with the name, with the price, right? What the price is, the price column contains the string with along with INR. Okay, rupee, let's say INR is written along with. So now you cannot do uh, computations over this column, because this column is a string and this contains alphabets, right? INR. So you need to separate it out, and you need to create a new column or update this column to accommodate only integers in part of the integer part of the price, right? So then you can always write you can write your lambda function, and then which says that, okay, remove the string part of it, alphabets part of it, and only the numeric part, and create a new column and put it into a new column, right? So there you can use dot apply and apply. You can always provide your functionality. Okay, and then merge is like it's a very frequently used functionalities that you will need. Is like you have two data sets, data set 1, data set 2, and you are able to see linkages in the data set. Even you can think of the Niti Aayog proposition, right? There are multiple data sets. Now you might find linkages between the data sets, and that's where, you know, functionalities like, well, this will, you know, come handy. Okay. And then it's our so whosoever works on SQL, it's the same, right? SQL, in SQL you apply joins, right? So it's one of the ways of merging. Okay. And then the chapter is on statistical analysis and so stuff. So not everything I'll be covering. I think visualization is something that you will yourself should be comfortable to go through, because this doesn't require much of explanation, because these are self-explanatory. So I think we'll try to cover till 06 stats. Yeah, and seventh visualization is something that I leave up to you guys, because anything around visualization is self interesting, and so I think you guys can do it yourself. Uh, and then comes the and definitely any questions you can always post to me on WhatsApp group, and then we can take it over if it is needs a detailed, you know, reasoning. So, and creating series and data frames is something that we don't need as much now, but we can just quickly walk through with that as well. Time series, I just want you guys to, you know, spend time, but hold on, because time series is something requires a, you know, once you practice more, once you know, do a lot of practice on Pandas, then go for time series, because time series makes it a little confusing in Pandas, and but still it's very useful. And then I have to check why it is deleting, but what it means by deleting. But yes, yeah, this is all what we'll do. So let's start with the, you know, the first one. uh, okay, so don't click here. I'll prefer to click here because it will open it in a new window. Let me, before that, let me close all the other tabs. I have too many tabs opened. Okay. Okay, great. So let me, okay, so open notebook in a new tab. You can, you know, once this is done, and you can always reply to me on, uh, you know, WhatsApp group if any issues. Okay. And just it would be great if you can reply it on WhatsApp group, that you are able to kind of, you know, render this, and ready to open this notebook if it is possible, so that I know that, okay, I need to move forward. Okay, let me, I think there is some delay as well, so let me move. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. It's not that rocket science. So let me click and open a new notebook. Okay, a web page. Okay, great. So as you are able to see, I'm sure you'll be able to see, once you click on that one, you'll be able to see, uh, you know, exercise with solutions, getting and knowing your data. And here you will should be able to see a connect button, right? So it's important that you click on this connect button. Okay, click on connect. And so what actually is, for those who are new to collab environment, what actually it is doing is that it is, you know, it has started a server at the backend, taken a basically a computational space at the backend to run this notebook. Okay, because you know, these are just the open machines. These are public machines that Google has given for collaborative research uh, to run these notebooks. Okay, so now it is connected. So now I can run my, you know, uh, so what it is first, I think import that we know, right? Now, now it's like no-brainer kind of thing. Import pandas and import numpy. Every time, don't every time you run this, by default think of it that okay, let's import pandas and numpy together. By default, more like a no-brainer. Okay, so that's it. And uh, okay, and then let's import the dataset. So there's this dataset is available, and what we are doing is pd.read underscore csv. Now again, read underscore csv is a no-brainer function where you provide the url and you provide the separator. So it's tab separated datasets. So .tsv, and so the moment you run this, okay, yes, run this please. I think I'll get error because I haven't imported the. Yes, I was sure that I'll get the error. Sometimes an error tells you that you are doing it right. So okay, so let's go, and so now this data frame is there. Okay, CHIPO. Okay, now let's see what this data frame contains. Okay, now dot head 10. Basically, by default, if I don't pass this 10, it will take 5 as an argument. But it shows us top 10 um, mm, top 10 rows in the data frame, and this is what. So it contains order underscore ID, quantity. So what in a particular order ID, in this order, you know, in this quantity and this item was purchased for this price. Okay, now in this, the same order, another item was purchased in this quantity with certain flavor or something, and this was the price. Okay, and so on. Now there are multiple orders, and each order have multiple items, as you can see, and those multiple items can have multiple quantity. So that's it. Now one thing that we can do just for experimentation, remember we did something else as well, and remember the tail function, right? So now this shows the lower the bottommost rows in the data frame, right? Head shows the topmost and it shows the bottommost, right? As you can see, and if I pass 10, it will show me 10, correct? This is very very handy. I mean, you will regularly use it. Now what is the now this I like this exercise. Why? Because it goes through with the set of questions that you need to answer via the programming. What is the number of observations in the dataset? Okay, number of observation, remember there is a dot shape function. So you don't need to I can understand that many of you who are new would find it confusing that how to learn so many commands. So for example, I don't uh, you know I don't every time I don't need to search on every that okay how to find the number of observation. I know there is some function with dot shape, whether dot shape is a bracket, something else or not, that I can always go and search for the syntax. But yes, if I know that there is a dot shape function for to get rows, number of rows and number of columns, then it will not be a problem for me, right? So that's how it is, and over the time you'll also get to learn, get to remember and retain all these as you use it more and more. Okay, now and just a second. Okay. So so number of observation dot shape zero. So dot shape zero basically. So if let me show you that why it is dot shape zero. So if we use chipper dot shape, it will be a tuple. See, it is a tuple. So now tuple contains first element, which is dot shape zero, is the number of observations, number of rows in the data frame, and the second element is the number of columns. And so we are using shape zero, number of. So see, the question is what is the number of observations in the data set, right? Now there is another function chip.info. I don't use it much, but you can always use it. I mean that's up to you whether you want to use it, but it's good. It's good enough to the details that it gives because it gives you details around okay how many are non-null in the particular column, so it comes in handy, and how much memory it is using. So and data types and everything. So it gives you all that information in one go. So it comes handy as well. And chip.info, right? So it tells that okay how much memory it is using. So you can see here that it is using 180.6 you know kilobytes, right? How cool it is, right? And so now you need to know what is the number of columns in dataset. So there are multiple ways that you can see. There's directly shape one, you can see, use that, or you are a Python guy, you might have a habit of doing it like this, cheapo.column. So now there's a we'll come to this function, but let's say you know mm, this function. See, it's also giving the same result because what cheaper.columns does is it returns the column list, right? Now number of the column list, the moment I do a length of this list, ideally for to be safe, in this use list. Yes. Okay. So print the name of all the columns. Now, okay. Next, it is used chipper.columns. Shows that how is the dataset indexed. Okay. Now, dot index of any data frame. So the data frame name dot index. It it gives you information about what is index. Okay. So here it is numeric index. It not necessarily not be a numeric index. It's up to you that by default pandas will give it a a range index or a numeric index basically, and index comes in very handy. Just search for functionality reset index, reset underscore index. It's more like a, think of it like a homework after the lecture, but that functionality comes very very handy, for manipulations and utilizing the index in the data frame, or retaining the index basically sometimes, and you'll find new creative ways to use that index. Okay, now we need to know which was the most ordered item. Now if we clearly go back on the data frame, so what it is asking, which is the most ordered item. Most ordered item means the you know in terms of quantity, right? So this is the item and this is the quantity. So how can I get the most ordered item? It can be by, if I sum up the quantity, how many times it is particular. So bottled water, steak burrito, chicken salad bowl, right? And this is the quantity. If I aggregate by item name or group by item name and sum up my quantity and then sort by descending order on the sum, then the top one will be the one which I would need, which would be my answer, right? Okay, so now let's see what it is doing. Chipper dot group by item underscore name, right? And then dot sum. So I could have ideally written group by this dot sum. It's up to us, up to the way how anybody wants to or feel comfortable. And then I could have written it in one liner. How? Let me show you. I usually do it in one liner, not like this generally. So I'll say chipo dot group by item underscore name dot sum. Okay, so if first let us see this results of this. See what it has done. It has grouped by item name, and now item underscore name is in the index. And how can you see it? The result it This result is itself is data frame. So I can always do dot index, which will tell me what is index. Now group by, I have group by on item. So item name is the index here, and that's why these are unique, right? And then is the order ID. Obviously order ID is not important for me because I don't need to do anything around this, right? What is important for me is quantity, and I need to know which is the item which is ordered most of the times, right? Which is the item which is ordered most of the times. And so what I need to do, I need to sort underscore values. So by the way, in the previous version of pandas, the sort underscore values was not there. There it was sort. Now they have made it sort underscore values. Sort values and sort by. By the way, you have to specify like this: quantity. Okay, ascending is equal to false. Okay. Now again it's too big list. So what I can do, dot head one. Let me use dot head. So it's like chaining that you are able to see, right? I'm sure you must have used it in some programming, right? So see, the results are same, right? Because it's up to us whether we want to kind of assign it one variable, and then generally this this way it helps, it makes it much more readable in one liner, and we are able to see that okay, first it applied group by, then summation, then sort into values, and just keep applying one by one, and then it helps. So chicken bowl is the most ordered item. Now for the most ordered item, how many items are ordered? So that's also the answer is here 761, right? What was the most ordered item in the choice underscore description column? So it's the same. I will not repeat now. It's the same. Just that choice underscore description is something that you need to, kind of do instead of item underscore name. How many items were ordered in total? That's just that. How many items were ordered in total? So you just need to do dot sum of the quantity column. So cheaper dot quantity dot sum, it will sum up. That's simple as that. We did this. Now you need to check the data type of the item price column. So you can always write data frame name, then the column name, okay, and then dot d type. Or now this is one, right? I cannot, if I want to know data type for every column in the data frame, then I don't need to write this. I just, what I need to do is in that scenario, chipo dot dtypes. See, 1 2 3 4 5. There are five columns, and it is showing what is the currently what is the data type currently in the data frame for each column. So order underscore ID is in 64, quantity is in 64, item underscore name object, choice description object, item underscore price object. Okay, and so let's uh, further move on to lambda function, my favorite. So create a lambda function and change the type of item price. Remember, I discussed this just before this in the beginning of the lecture. This is the use case. So basically, what do you write? This is a function name is equal to lambda x float x1 colon minus 1. So I'll come to this why it is so, but I'm sure by now you must be already knowing it why it is so. Now, why it is, but let's first focus on this. Chipo dot item underscore price. Now, this is the column on which you need to apply this lambda function. But what this function does? So this function does is that whatever element I take, I'm taking a column here. So the column dot apply. Now, in every row in that column, there is certain value. So that value is taken as x. Basically, it iterates over the whole. This x is what we need to do with this x. We manipulate this value and make this value this much, and it returns this output back into to replace and put this value in cheapo dot item underscore price, which is the same. Basically, we are updating the same column. Now, what it is doing, x. Now, what is the value in that? The item underscore price x0. So 0, so it is starting from x1 to minus 1. Minus 1 means till the end. Okay, but x1 colon minus 1. 1 stands for, basically it doesn't start with 0, because at 0 it contains dollar in every row. And so you'll be able to apply this lambda function and extract numerical price from it and put it into item price. The moment we apply this, now if I have a look at it, cheapo data set, you'll find that dollar has removed, right? The, now again, in real life scenarios, I'm damn sure you'll also not get this that easily. This lambda function like this. You'll find that there are few rows where the dollar is there. There are few rows where dollar is not there. So in that case, you based on the complexity of the availability of the data or data sufficiency or the quality, you might have some if else functions here, or whatever logic you need to apply to make it numerical, extract the numerics, you might apply it here. For example, there might be blanks as well. Now otherwise this function will break, but you can always write it that okay, if it is blank, then put some number here or something like that, correct, and so on. And okay, let's move on next. uh, then using this, leveraging this, we know this cheapo dot item underscore price dot type, right? Now, how much was the revenue for the period in the data set? Okay, now we know quantity, it's already a integer number, and cheapo item price, now it is also numeric. So I can always say that okay, how much is the revenue generated from that particular transaction or that particular order ID's item purchase. Now every row contains some number, right? And what we do, we multiply these columns and dot sum. So basically, it sums up all the revenue, and then what we are doing is we are trying to print it. So we first calculated here as the sum, and then revenue was string, and what we did is, so here we have put dollar here, okay. So this is dollar is this one, okay, because we'll print this number. Now what we are using is we are just taking it, making the string, first calculating it. So calculation we have already done here. Here we are rounding it off to two decimal places. So np dot round, and that's where numpy is getting used here. Np dot round revenue comma 2, right? Okay, how many orders were made in this period? Now um, you can always say that order ID, maybe I could have, let me show you another thing. What can be done? I have to check, but let me see if it works. This is also right. I'm not saying this is wrong. What I'm saying is, so GPO dot order underscore ID dot np. I think there was something else. See, this is how I search. Sometimes, you think that, okay, this is not coming out right. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Now I remember. Maybe if this doesn't work, then I'll use the other way. See? Or what I can do is np.unique. But remember, see, 1834, right? 1834. So it is giving a list of each order ID, and basically it's the index that it is returning of this column, right? but but anyways, what you can do directly, to have this number, dot order ID dot value count. So value underscore count, what it does is that it will group by, it will provide you counts for each order ID, and then you are doing the count. Now doing a count is basically calculating how many number of rows. Even if, let's say I use this, and this also returns the same, right? Because again, dot value underscore counts is again a data frame. So whether I use like this or dot count, I mean, there are multiple ways. Once you start using it on a daily basis, you'll tend to get more and more learning, and so on. Okay. Okay. So moving on to next, it's already 10:43, and we have to wrap up by 11. I don't think I'll be able to wrap up multiple lectures uh, in just one lecture. So maybe you might have to get on more lectures. But I think this is something that you guys can do it yourself. This is not difficult or rocket science. Just that, I would just wanted to give you direction so that you can continue using it, continue doing it. What is the average amount per order? So now we have take earlier we didn't create a column, revenue column. We directly did dot sum, right? Now let's take quantity column, item price column, multiplied it and put it into a new column with the revenue. Now each row, think of it, now each row has its own revenue, right? Because each order id with the particular item with a particular quantity brings a certain revenue. Now what I need to do
I need to see that, okay, what is the average amount per order. Now I have to group by orders, okay, and total amount of spent on that order, right? Revenue generated by that order. So this is the output of this. So this will be a, two column kind of scenario where order ID corresponding to that order ID, how much revenue is generated. Okay.